The best platforms to invest in the stock market. That's the topic for today's episode. And without further ado, let's dive in. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode at Novarise Invest. If this is your first time tuning into this channel, this is your channel for real estate education. So by popular demand, we're back here again doing another episode on how to invest in the stock market to help you complement and diversify your investments. What we're gonna do today is to go over 4 different platforms that you can leverage according to your needs, to your financial capabilities, and decide which one will fit your needs the best. The first one will be Robinhood. The second one will be WeBull. The third one will be Vanguard, and Charles Schwab will be the 4th platform that we will go over. So without further ado, let's just dive straight into my computer so we can see what each of them has to offer. Okay, here we are in my computer, and like I said, we're gonna go over 4 different platforms. The first one will be Robinhood. The second one will be WeBull right here, followed by Vanguard. And lastly, we're gonna go over Charles Schwab, okay? So let's get started with Robinhood. That will be our first platform. So why am I recommending Robinhood? And if you've never heard of Robinhood, which I doubt, but if you haven't, this is the logo of Robinhood. It's going to be a green leaf right here. And the reason why I'm starting off with Robinhood, it's because this is by far the most intuitive platform. And I'm talking about both interfaces on desktop and also on mobile. Depending on your preference, there will be some people who prefer to trade from their desktop. But if you're always on the go like I am you will find a great need and a great use to have a mobile application. And Robinhood happens to nail both very neatly. It is one of the most popular apps and also trading platforms amongst millennials. So it's just a no-brainer in my opinion. And the reason why I like it so much is because their interface is very intuitive, regardless of whether you're doing it from a desktop or your mobile platform. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna simply slowly start scrolling down so you can get an idea what I'm talking about. They have sections where they recommend the most popular stocks, which we'll eventually get to that. But then as you start scrolling down, everything seems to be divided by sections. So everything stands out and you don't get overwhelmed by the amount of information because it's just divided by chunks. So your eyes are basically drawn to just one thing at a time. And it makes it a lot easier for you to navigate, especially if you're the kind of person who either gets distracted very easily with like a text message that's coming your way or an Instagram message. This is designed in a way that it almost feels like it's in your face, but in a very subtle way, and it draws your attention towards it, okay? So that's one start. Another reason why I like this platform so much is because it is great for people who are just getting started. So what happens when you're starting something new? You typically are very excited, but at the same time, you are very overwhelmed. So oftentimes you will be all over the place and you wouldn't necessarily know where exactly to go. So in those instances, that's when this list comes in very handy. So Robinhood has this list of the most popular crypto, the 100 most popular stocks. If you're into cannabis, here's the list of cannabis stocks, technology, altcoins, tech, real estate, healthcare, you name it. So everything is divided by section, and you can actually get started with that list just to get a sense of where to go. So let's say if we were to go on the list of the 100 most popular stocks, then you'll find a listing right here of all these different stocks that you can actually look into and learn a little bit about each and one of them and start trading. So on the number 1 stock that we have is Tesla. There's Apple, Microsoft, Churchill Capital, AMD, and so on, right? So let's start off with Tesla since it's the first one on the list. And once you come in here, you will see what their analysts are recommending, right? So they have a ranking system where they recommend you to either buy or hold or sell the stock. Hold, it's kind of like the status quo. You don't do anything, you just wait to see what happens. But it doesn't mean that you cannot sell it, right? That's just their recommendation. Is up to you, to take their recommendation or not based on the analysis that you have made. They do offer some tools, although in my opinion, they're not the greatest, but if you're kind of, let's say you're looking to invest in the long run, you will most likely not really need much of these analysis too, because you will base your decision mostly on fundamental analysis. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about in terms of fundamental analysis, I'm going to leave a link to a video below in the description box, so you can definitely check it out. But typically people who will want to look into, the different charts and do the analysis one by one, day by day, minute by minute, are usually the ones who do intraday trading. And for those who do intraday trading, they will typically go more on the technical analysis side, which is not something that we're going to cover today in this video. Otherwise, it will be like a 3-hour long video, right? So to recap, there's a graph, there's a recommendation here, and then on the right side, they make it fairly intuitive for you to trade, whether it's to buy or whether it's for you to sell the stock. And you can do it in 2 ways, right? One is to do it by share and one is to do it by dollars. So trading by share is basically the way we all know. So let's say I want to come in and I want to buy 10 shares. All you got to do is just to type in 10, and then you just go ahead and you review the order. And of course, I don't have enough buying power because I'm not buying any stocks, but you kind of like get the gist of it, right? So the market price is $730 right now per stock. And if you want to buy 10 stock, you will have to have available $7,301. If you have the chance to invest in it and you have the capital, great, good for you. However, if you are starting off, chances are you will probably not want to put all that money into a stock because you're most likely afraid. Maybe you're kind of like testing the waters and you are looking to learn a little bit more about it, but you don't want to just sit still and do nothing. For that, there is an option for you to basically invest in fractional shares. And the way you go about this, let me just go back and just open up Tesla again. And so let's say you don't want to do shares because you either don't have the money, or maybe you do have the money, but you don't want to dump, $7,000 in one shot on a stock that you just found out about or you just started analyzing. So what you do, you come in here in dollars, and let's say you only want to invest $300, right? That's all you're comfortable investing. And what you do is you pick dollars and then you type in 300, and then it will show you here how much of a fraction you're buying of that particular stock. So you're buying 0.41 shares, and that will be your order for your purchase for Tesla, right? So that's one thing that I love about it, aside from the fact that you don't have to pay any commissions to do any trading. So all of their transactions are free. And when it comes to buying and their platform, and you can definitely do fractional shares if you're getting started or if you're just simply not comfortable or don't have enough capital. Now, scrolling down through the website, they do give you, the essential, what's necessary, the market value, the average cost of the share, more details about the company if you want to read more about them, and then anything that appears on the news. And down here, it will show you anything that their analysts said. And like I said, they have a rating system of 3. So the first one will be to buy and how many are recommending you to buy. So that's 29% of their analysts. 44% of them is suggesting that you should hold on the stock. And then 26% is suggesting that you should sell or recommending that you sell, right? And the number is based on 34 ratings, right? And then as you scroll down, you'll see more details. Sometimes Robinhood will include a research report. Sometimes they don't do it, depend on the membership. I do have the gold membership. I think it's only $5 a month that you have to pay. But other than that, if you don't want to pay the $5 a month, it's great. You'll do fine without it. You don't necessarily have to have the report. But if you want to have it, it's great, right? Because look at what it has to offer. It offers you all these details. The report is 18 pages long, and it walks you through the entire analysis from the moment from they start and why do they think this is worthy of your money, what are the moves, what are their plans for the next couple of years, numbers wise, what sector are they in. It's just the entire rationale that they follow to give it the rating that it currently has. And of course, this is great reading, maybe a little bit too much, but again, if you're looking to learn, there's no better place to start other than here, right? It will provide you all the necessary information, and it will train your brain to start thinking the way that the analyst will start thinking when it comes to analyzing a particular stock, okay? And then down here, as you continue to scroll down, you'll see more details. You have access to their earnings calendar, when is it going to be announced in every quarter, and then additional details. And I also like the fact that they do recommendations, right? So let's say, for example, if you're looking at Tesla, so what they do is that they take a kind of like a poll or like a trend analysis, so to speak, depending on how you want to look at it. And then the recommendations based on what their clientele likes to do. So for people who typically own Tesla, they also happen to own Apple or NIO or Amazon or Microsoft. And as you can see, you know, like you will see the buy-ins rate, 96% buy, 94% buy, 71% buy, 61% buy. It's a great tool. It's intuitive, it's easy, and it provides you with just what you need, in my opinion. So if you're looking to invest in the long run, or even if you're doing intraday trading, this is a decent tool for you to use. Not the best in terms of the analysis here, but you can leverage other tools available in the market to complement the analysis that you're looking for. Now, what are some of the downsides? Well, yeah, the fact that they don't have the best analysis tool. They do give you, you know, just about right what's necessary, but they don't give you everything. They don't have something that is extremely complex because that's not the target audience that they have. Another downside of Robinhood is that if you are an international investor, which we do get a lot in our channel, we have people tuning in from New Zealand, from South Africa, from Canada, and some of you are looking to invest your money, to park your money in the United States. So if you are looking to invest in the stock market and you're, you know, just shopping around for different platforms that you can use in your stock investing experience, Robinhood will not be one of them because you need to be a U.S. citizen and you need to have a social security number in order to open up a brokerage account with them, right? If you have an ITIN number, unfortunately, it won't work out for you. But there are other options available in the market. There are other options where you can actually invest with an ITIN, which we'll eventually get to. And there are other platforms available in the market that will allow you to invest if you happen to own a business in the US. You can be a foreigner, you can be an international investor, but if you do happen to have a US business with your EIN created and all, then you can take that EIN and you can create your own brokerage account. But for Robinhood, it unfortunately does not cover that. So this is pretty much it for Robinhood. What we're going to do, we're going to move on to another platform that's called WeBull. So now WeBull, in my opinion, it's a little bit more complete, but depending on what you're looking for, it can be a little too much for some people, for some customers. So let's say if you're brand new and you're trying to learn, having all of these charts and all of these numbers, it could be a little too much in comparison to, oh, look at Robinhood. You know, it's very intuitive, very smooth. It's on your face, but, you know, subtly, not too much. But this is like, all of it is in your face and too many colors and you don't know what to look for. For some people, they will like it. Me, for example, I actually like this dashboard because it gives me everything I need in one spot, right? Like I could just look at it and I know exactly where I can find something. Everything is in one place. That's great for me. But for some people, it might not necessarily work out. So that's one thing for you to consider. WeBull also offers recommendations, so to speak, right? But they do it in a different way. So here they have a list of their, you know, top 100 list or whatever they have to offer here, right? But in WeBull, they do it a little differently. So the way they do it is that they label top gainers, they have the top losers, and they also have the most active ones. So now, in my opinion, I don't necessarily like to go with the most active one, mainly because of what happened recently with GameStop. I mean, volume wise, they were pretty active, but it doesn't necessarily mean the stock was worth what it was trading for. And then you eventually knew what happened in the news. So you don't need me to go over that. But take everything with a grain of salt here. Even if you're brand new, this is a great tool to leverage because you can get started with, you know, their top gainers, the top losers, and just get familiarized with what's available in the market, right? And as you scroll down, they also have other recommendations. Like these are the industries that are hot. For example, look at the renewable fuels, and then you can just click on each one of these stocks. Passenger transportation, mining, and precious metals. Any ETFs, if you're looking to invest in ETF, the table of cryptos, like everything, it's on a one-stop shop. Now, if you're looking to trade with WeBull, what we're going to do, this is how the trading platform looks like for WeBull. A little bit more overwhelming, but complete, right? So let's say, for example, you want to come in here and you want to do a trade. So the way trade works is that, look at this page. It's just very complete. It could be, like I said, a little bit cumbersome depending on where you're coming from or your level of experience, but look at the granularity of this. So in Robinhood, the most you can do, what was it? So let's just pick the 100 most popular, and we were talking about Tesla. So the most granular level of detail that you can get is down to a date, right? So you got a day, 1 week, 1 month, 3, 1 year, and then 5 years. But if you come down to WeBull, you can do it by minute. So we're talking about more details, something that is more zoomed in, especially if you're doing intraday trading, because you want to make sure that you account for every movement that happens in the market, and use that information for your analysis. So once again, it is a lot more granular, and you can play a lot more with it. You can actually change the charts so that it will look, just get the style that you want. So depending on your needs, you can actually play around with the graph and choose it to look the way you want it to look, right? But then once you're down here, you're gonna have to decide on what type of order you want to place. Is it a limit order, market stop limit, trailing stop? Like I said, it won't be a conversation for today. Otherwise, this video will take 3 hours long, but it just kind of like gives you an idea. It's a little bit more complex, but in my opinion, still not the end of the world. One thing about WeBull is that it doesn't allow you to do fractional shares. Now they might change it sometime down the road, but as of today, they don't allow you to do that. So it's something that you definitely have to consider. The good thing about this is that you don't have to pay for the trade. It's another one of those platforms where you don't have to pay for the transaction. So you're kind of like sort of like deciding what is it that you want to do, right? So let's say you want to come in here and you want to do an analysis of a stock. So I was actually looking into Apple. I was recording the video in Spanish first, so we're going over the Apple stock, and then as you're here now, you have all the information zoomed in. You got a much bigger graph where you get to decide, okay, do I want to look at this by the minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5, 30 minutes, an hour, 2, 4, day, and then by year and how many years, right? So once again, it all depends on what you're looking for. And then once you come down here, you have everything neatly organized down here. So, all the resources that you're going to need to help with your analysis. So you got all the news in here, which it can look a little cumbersome. Most people like to use images. If you come down here onto Robinhood, you'll see a picture here. So in a way, it makes it easier for the eyes, especially if you're the type of person who gets distracted very easily. So it's kind of like in your face. Let me analyze this. But if you come down here, sometimes depending on the type of person that you are, if you are too distracted, you can get lost in between the lines, right, so to speak. But then when you come in here, then you have all the financials, which is something that Robinhood doesn't offer you in here, right? So now we're talking about, once again, more granularity. So do you want to talk about, hey, here's our financial forecast, that's the balance, that's the cash flow, what about their income statements, what about their balance sheet, what about the cash flow? So you have all of those tools readily available in a single platform and a one-stop shop. And then what about the analysis? So what are the analysts saying? So they're saying that you should buy this, and this is the breakdown, and all the numbers. So they have a different rating system. They have a strong buy, hold on the performer. It's just, in essence, it all means the same. Like if you add these two together, then you're gonna get a strong buy. And then any press releases in the company, financials, insiders, any corporate actions pertaining to the company, options, and then whatever, brief that you might want to look into in the platform. So this is great in a sense, right? And another thing that it's amazing about this platform is that it allows you to trade with an ITIN, right? So if you are an international investor and you're looking to invest in the United States, this is the perfect platform for you because it will allow you to open up your account with a tax ID, with a ITIN number, and you should be able to create your account and get ready. But my understanding is that you have to be present in the US. There are certain countries that are the exception to the rule, where you will be allowed to open your account overseas. That's something that you're just simply going to have to Google and find out. I don't remember what those countries are, but I think they're mostly located in Asia. They're mostly Asian countries. Okay. So if you're looking to invest in the US and you're an international investor, this is another pro that's going to help you make the best decision for you. Okay. So that's it with WeBull. What we're going to do, we're going to move on to a Vanguard. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this episode, do not forget to hit the like button right here at the bottom so you can help this episode rank and help other people like you who are looking for information of this kind. And if you happen to know somebody like you, maybe a friend, maybe a family member who is looking for information of this kind, and you know this video can be really handy, feel free to share the love with them and send this episode their way. Now we're here in Vanguard, and what we're going to do is that we're going to scroll down to the stock listings that I have in here. All right, so let's just check out Apple right here. So in my opinion, Vanguard actually has the best of both worlds, meaning the best of Robinhood and the best of WeBull. And I'm about to tell you why. So as you can see, the information here, it's somewhat like much better organized than you will see in WeBull, right? So there's a relatively good amount of white space, so that way you're not overwhelmed with everything like in your face. And then as you are looking at each section, one way or the other, this is actually separated into 4 chunks. So you have the details about the stock, how much I have invested, the number of shares that I have available, the price, then the snapshot of the stock in itself, any transaction history that I've had, any dividend that I have received from Apple, and when did they split their stock, and any news available in the market that can be used to complement your analysis. But the thing doesn't end here, right? So let's say you want to find out a little bit more. So what you do is that you hit on more news and research, and voila. So you have, the next stop, let's say on the website, on the platform, that will give you all the necessary information, all nicely organized, which is something that sometimes in here you will not get. I mean, here, yeah, I guess they did a bit of a good work. It's all a matter of preference again. Plenty of colors. Sometimes for some people that could be a little bit too much. Robinhood just managed to keep everything easy with just 2 colors, well, 3 actually, black, green, and white. And so your attention is not distracted. Yeah, they have some colors here and there, but it's just like very minor. It's not all over the place, as opposed to here. It's like you don't know if you should look here or here or here or down here. It's just too much. And so Vanguard managed to capture that as well. Like the colors are very neutral. They use a lot of pastel colors, so it's not overwhelming, and they use just the right amount to help you focus your attention on the things that truly matter, as opposed to you looking all over the place, right? And so you have kind of like an overview, right? So you have the charts here, you got the performance in a week, a month, 3 months, any necessary company information, and then the detailed quote information. What's the price where it opened on a particular date, the highest, the lowest, the price range within the last 52 weeks, what was the highest within that time frame, what was the lowest within that time frame, the earnings per share, you name it, right? And then once you click on chart, that's when you get to play around with the options. So you have mountain, you have line, so check out the lines. You can do candlesticks, and voila, you get the candlesticks. Not as pretty as the ones that you will see here. This is actually nicer to look at in the eye. Green means, growing, and then red means, a price drop. But here it's kind of like, oh my, like it's just a little too much, right? And then when you come on to the news section, so then you got all the news. Once again, it doesn't really have any images, but at least it's not crowded as you see here. It's like, oh my God, like where's the lane? However, I guess if you use the mouse to sort of like hover over, each article in itself is going to stand out. But so it's here, although a little bit more subtle, but there's more white space in between, right? So if you're going to come in here and look at the price history, you can do it by week, by month, even up to 10 years. And you just click in here and look at all the entire chart that is right here for you to look at. The company financials, the details are here as well. Total assets, liabilities, income statement, cash flow, all in more detail as opposed to what you will see here in WeBull. And then share details right here, more numbers for you to analyze, and then the earnings, more for you to analyze. And this is one of the things that I like the most, which are access to the reports. Now, I do remember mentioning that sometimes Robinhood and WeBull, they will offer you some of the analyst report, but they don't do it for every single stock, right? Like these reports are actually expensive to get. So they're not really available for, let's say, a minor stock that is not as popular as the Teslas or the Apples in the world. One thing about Vanguard that I like is that for every single stock that you analyze, they do have a stock, not just one, but they have two. So you can open up the Argus report, and then here they offer the market grader report. So now we're talking about two different sets of reports. They usually pick one that it's the complete opposite of one another so that you can see both sides of the equation. Although here I'm noticing that they both set buy, which is great. But sometimes they have the tendency to do one that recommends you to buy and then one that recommends you to sell it. That way you can have access to the whole spectrum, right? Why it would work and why it would not work. And once again, that's a rating. Why did they do that? How do they approach the analysis? What are the numbers that they review to draw that conclusion? Same thing here. This is an 8-page long, how they decided to do their analysis and the graphs that they went into. This is good reading, like I said. I know it might be a little dry, especially if you are getting started, but it will train your brain to start thinking like an analyst, right? So now back here, that's I would say that's pretty much for Vanguard. So what we're gonna do is that we're now gonna move on to Charles Schwab. This is what Charles Schwab has to offer, and I have to be honest, out of all 4 platforms, Charles Schwab has the worst desktop interface. It's so ugly, it's not even funny. Like, look at this. It's like compared to how clean this looks, compared to this, compared to this. This is like, oh my God, like this is so sad. And it doesn't mean that Charles Schwab is a horrible platform overall, right? Like I said, every platform has its own needs. It serves its own clientele, right? So I would have to say, before diving into all the details about Charles Schwab, that all 4 platforms are great, but it all depends on what you're looking for and what your needs are. And also you need to understand who their target audiences. So platforms like Robinhood and WeBull, that's all they do. All they do is just to help you, to facilitate you, to be there for you so you can invest in the stock market. So all the money that they make, it's coming from your trades. Anything that happens in there for like lending you money so you can do margins, like everything comes from that. And then once they get their money, they reinvest all of their resources into improving the platform. Their target audience is the individual trader, the individual consumer, the one-by-one person who wants to come in here and do everything himself or herself, do the analysis, just pick on every single item and do the trading themselves. Vanguard, on the other hand, and Charles Schwab, they're more of, let's say, institutional companies. So their clientele are usually either very rich people who just give them money so the company can invest the money for them, or businesses that are looking for retirement plans, or the bigger corporations like the Marriotts of the world, like the JP Morgans of the world, like the big companies that employ thousands and thousands of people, and then offer them retirement plans. So they work with 401ks, they work with IRAs. So they're more geared towards volume, so to speak, more so than the individual consumer. And when you're working with volume, you cannot make everybody happy. So what you do is that you create a platform, one that it's as comprehensive as possible, that gives the most features that the majority of the people want. But platforms like Robinhood and WeBull, they are dedicated to the individual investor. So they try to add as many features as possible because they're trying to make everybody happy. So those are the key differences between the four companies, I'll say. But if I do have to put them in chunks, I will say Robinhood and WeBull are sort of like one, because they're dedicated to the individual investor. And then Vanguard and Charles Schwab, it's a different one because they're dedicated to a different type of consumer. Out of all four platforms, I will have to say that my favorite is Robinhood and WeBull, because it serves a purpose. It's dedicated to giving you the tools that you need. But I won't deny that I love Vanguard as well. In fact, Vanguard was actually my first brokerage account, because when I started investing in the stock market, Vanguard had the lowest fee in the market. They were only charging $7 per trade. They don't charge it anymore because Robinhood and WeBull made it difficult for everybody to compete. So if they wanted to continue to gain market share, they will have to eliminate their fees. So now Vanguard and Charles Schwab also offers free trade for you, right? Now, let's just come back to Charles Schwab. And what we're going to do, let's just analyze Etsy, right? So we're talking about Etsy. Here's the summary. Again, very sloppy. The chart, it's pretty static. There's not much you can do about it. And then the headlines right here, right? But then when you come through the ratings, then look at the amount of reports that are making available. So now we're not talking about just two, like in Vanguard, right? We're talking about multiple reports. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5 different reports that you can choose from. I'm just going to open up 2 of them just to give you a general overview, right? So the first one, so we have the Charles Schwab, the equity report. Look at this, it's outperforming, yada, yada. Look at all the details, the numbers, the charts that they use, and their conclusion. And then there's another one done here. It's neutral, and here's the reason why, the details. So like I said, these reports are usually expensive for you to buy individually, and they're made rarely available for you in here. So I will say this is the only thing that stands out about Charles Schwab. I mean, in terms of trading, it's just pretty intuitive. You want to buy a stock, you do a call, put, and then do you want to buy, sell, number of shares. They don't allow for fractional shares. And then what type of order you want to place, market order, limit, stop limits, and you name it, right? So again, this tool is designed for more of institutional investors. Like I said, they're meant to cater to the masses. But if you want personalization, I will say these two are the best tools for you to check out. Oh, one thing, almost forgot. One of the very nice things about Robinhood that I forgot to mention at the beginning is that they have a great referral program. Meaning, if you share your link, you will get a free stock, and then your friend who signs up with your link also gets a free stock. So what a better way to, share the love and make all of this available for everybody. So now, if you want to get started, you want to take advantage of my, utilize my link, so that way you can get access to the free stock as well. Make sure you click the description box down below, where you're going to get access to all 4 platforms, whether it's Robinhood, WeBull, or Vanguard, or Charles Schwab, depending on what your needs are. These are all going to be made available down in the description box below. And that is pretty much it. That's all I have for you today. Do not forget to share the love, once again, with anyone that you think or know that will, in fact, make a good use out of this episode. And don't forget to hit the like. And while I still have you here, do not forget to check this episode right here. That's going to help you complement everything you learned today. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.